Hi, it's Sunday, July 6th, and we have two systems to talk about in the tropics today. The first one is Tropical Storm Chantal off the U.S. southeast coast. The system will be tracking northwest tonight and making landfall along the coastline of South Carolina, and bringing tropical storm force winds and heavy rainfall as it does so. We've also got Typhoon Danas in the South China Sea. This will be the primary focus of this video as the system is intensifying and nearing the coastline of Taiwan and will likely be bringing very significant impacts to the island as we go throughout the next couple of days. We are going to briefly start off with Tropical Storm Chantal in the Atlantic. You can see the system very disorganized this evening off the coast of South Carolina, but it is more typical for what you would expect for a system this time of year. You can see a lot of southwesterly flow shearing apart this system with all the showers and thunderstorms off towards the northeast side. And this will be important for the landfall of the system. It's probably going to be making landfall somewhere between Charleston and Myrtle Beach along this coast of South Carolina. But the impacts are going to be along and northeast of where the center makes landfall. And we're likely going to see tropical storm force winds extend all the way up into the North Carolina coastline and also heavy rainfall do the same thing and even push further inland as we go throughout the next couple of days. This is the current forecast from the Hurricane Center, and you can see a tropical storm warning in place from a little bit near Myrtle Beach all the way up to Wilmington, North Carolina, but the system is forecast to come in tonight and weaken away as we go into the latter half of Sunday and into early Monday. But you can see the tropical storm force wind field here is lopsided onto the eastern side, and for areas further west like Charleston, probably not going to feel all too much from the system, maybe some scattered showers and storms tomorrow as the system does come ashore. But the primary impact of the system is probably going to be rainfall. This is the rainfall forecast from the Weather Prediction Center, and you can see a broad swath in South Carolina and North Carolina of 2 to 4 inches of rain with some localized spots of 4 to 6 inches. And that is something important to mention is that this system is over the Western Atlantic and Gulf Stream, which is running a degree or 2 degrees above normal on the sea surface temperature front. And that's going to allow the system to have more moisture to work with as it pushes inland. And that may lead to some heavier rates of rainfall across North and South Carolina. And that could lead to some flooding issues here as we do go throughout the next couple of days. So if you're in the path of the storm, make sure you're staying tuned to your local forecast office. I'll leave a link to the National Weather Service website at the top of the description so you can get to that website and see your location on information on the system as it does come inland. So this will be the last video that I have on this system, and really that's it for this video as we are going to now move to the Western Pacific side of things. So we have Typhoon Danas in the South China Sea. This system is intensifying as it comes northeast towards the coast of Taiwan and will likely be bringing very significant impacts to the island as it goes throughout the next couple of days. You can see as the sun rises, it looks like the system is forming an eye and eyewall structure. We can see a little dimple here in the visible satellite imagery with some textured cloud tops on the southern semicircle of this, highlighting what appears to be an eyewall on the southern side of the storm. Now, a little uncertain on exactly if this eyewall is complete or not. I did take a look at radar from Taiwan, but by the point it gets over this storm, it is pretty high up in altitude, so it's not really reliable to look at. The best thing we can do is look at this synthetic microwave data. It isn't perfect, but it does give us some idea of what may be happening underneath the clouds. You can see a little eye and eyewall structure being built underneath of the clouds, and this does match what we're seeing on visible satellite imagery. Hopefully we'll get an actual microwave pass to show if this is correct or not. But the point being that the system is likely intensifying even more as it is now a typhoon. And this system is forecast to intensify really up to landfall in Taiwan. You can see it's now making a track towards the north and east, and models expect the system to be coming ashore sometime this evening or early on Monday. This is the water vapor imagery showing you what's going on aloft of this system. We did have yesterday some northerly shear from this upper low that you can see backing west into eastern China, but you can see the northerly shear has subsided quite a bit. You can see the upper level cirrus clouds is a pretty sharp cutoff edge here north of Taiwan. That's highlighting where the northerly shear is from this upper level low, and you can see it's now well displaced from where the system actually is, and on the front side of this upper level low, it's now opening a good stream of southwesterly flow for the system to tap into. And this is very strong divergent flow, helping the system to intensify. And models like the HAFS model, which is a hurricane and typhoon specialized model, are showing continued intensification as the system comes northeast into the island. This will likely be a very significant impact for the island in terms of wind impacts, because this is also a bit of a unique track. For western Taiwan, you usually don't feel the full brunt of typhoon force winds when they come in, because systems, they usually come in east and they hit the mountains and weaken rapidly because of that. But this system is coming in from the southwest, so areas along the west coast will likely feel the brunt of the typhoon force wind field. But perhaps the biggest issue here is going to be the heavy rainfall that we see across the entire island, no matter where you are in Taiwan. You can see on the simulated radar imagery from the HAFS model, it's forecasting a very strong band of showers and storms feeding right into the mountainous terrain of central Taiwan. And the problem with this is it's like a sponge that's full of water. If you squeeze that out, all the water inside comes out. And that's practically what the mountains do when showers and storms like this butt up against the mountainous terrain. It just squeezes out the rainfall very rapidly, and you get very, very heavy rainfall in a short period of time. And just to illustrate how heavy that rainfall could get, this is the rainfall forecast from the HAFS model, and this is over the next 36 hours. This is by Monday morning local time. And I know this is in inches, so I'll translate it to millimeters. The red area is 150 millimeters or more. The yellow you're seeing here along this eastern part of the coast, on the eastern side of the mountains, that's 400 to 500 millimeters of rainfall or more in that area in a 36-hour period. And note that it's not just kept to one local area, it's along a very significant part of the Taiwan coastline, and this will likely lead to widespread flooding and mudslide issues across the island as it comes north. Now, we'll also be dealing with the typhoon force winds along the western coast. Now, there's a little bit of uncertainty onto exactly if the system is coming ashore or if it's just going to barely miss the coast, but in all likelihood, the system will be close enough to bring typhoon force winds to the western half of this island. So be ready for that as the system does come in. Now, the good news is the system it's not going to be stalling here in Taiwan. It is going to be tracking at a fairly good pace to the north. You can see on this forecast from the HAFS model, it's by Monday morning into Monday afternoon up here by the eastern coast of China. And by this point, hopefully much of the rainfall has ended across the island. Now, for interest in eastern China, the system is forecast to come north and make a pretty sharp turn towards the west. You can see this in the Joint Typhoon Warning Center forecast. It comes northeast and then makes this very sharp turn towards the west. The good news is here that the system will begin to get sheared from the east, so the system will likely be weakening by this point. But exactly how much it weakens does depend partially on exactly how much interaction we see within the island of Taiwan. If it comes directly ashore, it will be very weak by the time it comes up here. But if it does stay offshore, we could see a stronger storm come up here into China. And we could also see some heavy rainfall spread inland as the system does come ashore as we head into the middle part of this upcoming week. But that's all that I've got for Typhoon Danas today. I will have more videos on the system as it continues tracking northeast, and I'll leave links to weather offices that I can find in Taiwan and eastern China in the top of the description. But stay safe in Taiwan as the system does come through. Like I said, I'll have more videos on this over the next couple of days. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching.